Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on another episode of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, I want to introduce you to a couple of our sponsors. The Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The Warriors took a tough 38-8 loss to the Inland Empire Kings. Okay. The world of semi-pros is unlike any other sports organizations. Players play and host to so many different outcomes. Whether it's playing to get filmed to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on the quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Wherever you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find on social media at Twitter at SoCal Warriors, on Instagram at Southern California _Warriors, and on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Background International. Are you looking to a background check on a new hire? Let Kit Freeman take care of that for you. Kit founded and has managed Background International since 1994. And he's here to help you with the screening process. Contact Kit and let him make the hiring process that much easier. This business is used for professional background checks and not for the use of any crimes such as identity theft or any other illegal activity. You can find them on social media on their website at bcint.com and on Facebook, Background Check International, BCI. Now on to the show. Well, last week we got the Southwest Division out the way, and we gave our preview and predictions on last week's show. Now on tonight's show, the Southeast Division. Can the Hawks make it back to the Eastern Conference Finals, or make the lead to the finals? Can the Young Magic make a surprise of a lot of young guard talent? The Hornets. Can LaMelo Ball continue his great play into year 2? The Wizards. Can they surprise some people? Or they just need to blow it up? And finally, the Miami Heat. Can they bounce back after their first round sweep of the eventual NBA champions, the Bucks? We'll talk that. But as you shout tonight, gentlemen, I know we kind of run a couple minutes late. You know, I was watching the Titans have a late game against the Seahawks. They won in overtime by 3 points. D-Lock, your team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, gone 2-0 against Atlanta Falcons. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Definitely exciting time. We are aiming to make this a great season. Great win for my Bucks today. Congrats to your Alabama team who won a tough matchup that week. Gave them a hard game Saturday. But I'm good, man. I'm feeling real good.
Yes, I'm feeling good. I'm glad Tennessee, when they got down pretty big against Seattle, didn't go down easily like they did last week against the Cardinals. So I'm happy. I'm satisfied right now. Still some things to do, but hey, didn't come out 0-2. So that's great. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're previewing basketball right now, specifically the NBA. Last week, like I mentioned in the intro, we talked about the Southwest Division. We've gone through those picks. So, just to recap real quick. The Southwest Division, me and D-Lock, we stay the same here. You know, Houston at the bottom, Spurs at 4, Memphis at 3, Pelicans at 2, and Mavs at the 1. So that's how we looked at it in the Southwest Division. If you're in the chat, we're talking about the Southeast Division. Give us y'all's predictions. Who y'all think would be from worst to first in this division? So put that in the chat and we'll get rolling. But D-Lock, this Southeast Division is like home to your Orlando Magic. A lot of young teams in the division, I said, except for the Heat. How do you see things shaking out in this division this year? You know, we've seen the Hawks make a run to the NBA Finals. I mean, not NBA Finals, Conference Finals. Can they do that again this year? Or, you know, will somebody else rise up and kind of kick them off that throne? What you think about that?
I mean, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be, this division is going to be very tough. I have to really do some real research and look at a couple things where I expect. But also, I want to do this division because I feel like this is like the next weakest division outside of the others. So, two teams I think is going to dominate this division, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think looking ahead before we get to our predictions, that two of these teams, I think, are locks to make the playoffs. Now, for the other three, there are question marks about them. You know? And can they make the playoffs? Well, two of them did. The other two did. Two other squads did. You know, Wizards and Hornets, but they had, did the play-in game. Can those two teams make it back? It's hard to say. It really is. And before we get rolling for our predictions, D-Lock, I want to shout out the chat. Terry Rodriguez, how you doing tonight, sir? Thank you for being in here. If y'all don't know, Terry does a lot of work for us here at iSports Radio. He's been real busy covering volleyball right now in the college level with Long Beach State, and then going around the high school and stuff like that. So if you follow him on Twitter and you're a big volleyball person, hey, and especially in Southern Cal, you may catch up with them, talk with them, rap with them. Hey, you might get your name out there. And shout out to Marcus Los, great in the chat. How you doing tonight, sir? So, D-Lock, I don't know if you want to start out first or you want me to go first.
I can definitely start off because right now I've already kind of put together a little bit. Then I'll let you piggyback. So at 5, I do have the Wizards.
Oh,
Kyle Kuzma is a up and down player that we still waiting to see him go into this player with high expectations. He could do a lot. I haven't seen it yet, so for me, I'm definitely going the Wizards at 5. Of course, you got Bradley Beal, who is just destined to stay. Just like he wants to stay in Washington. So I'm gonna have them at 5. My thing is this division is kind of just all over the place, but also doing a little bit of favor to my favorite team. And talk about them leading up, I do have the Magic being 4th. Right now, they're getting 4th just because it's like we don't know what the hell the Wizards are doing. So I think the Magic are just in that like position where they could possibly kind of improve a little bit. I mean, with getting Jalen Suggs, I thought that was a big piece. Definitely wasn't expecting him to be there, so I think we got very lucky with that. But to me, I really like the fact that this is a chance where we can see some kind of production moving forward in a building block. And I told you my problem with them. Like, we have like this situation where we just, for some odd reason, if things don't happen as fast as we want, the first thing we do is say, okay, well, we're just going to start completely over.
Yep.
That doesn't always work. So I think this time I'm expecting us to actually give them a chance, build, move forward. Hopefully, it'll pay dividends moving forward. So I have them at 4. This is where it gets kind of tough. I got Charlotte at 3.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Charlotte is a team that is on the way up. They're just not there yet. Young, LaMelo is going to be a hell of a player, clearly. A better player at that. I just feel like, he's going to be a person that they heavily lean on. They made a couple moves. That was kind of questionable. But for me, I feel like LaMelo is the one that's going to lead this crew of this team. Michael Jordan definitely got him a piece there. And I definitely like them over the Magic. It's just, for me, Magic and the Wizards. I just feel like both of those teams are just kind of still trying to figure out what the hell they're doing or what's going on with them. So I'm definitely taking the Hornets at 3. And at 2, now this one is where it gets kind of interesting for me. But I'm going to go to Hawks at 2. Which is a lot of people will be like, what? Because of what they just did. Trae Young is Trae Young. I mean, his roster is very nice. They got the pieces that they need. But for me, like, it's Bogdanovich. I just need to see what he's going to do moving forward. Like, I just feel like him, John Collins plays when he wants. Gallo, same thing. We've seen Gallo play, in the playoffs, but, he doesn't do anything damn near through the season. So I think the Hawks are in a pretty solid spot to be great. But just give them a little bit more time. And another reason why I have that is because who I have first, Miami Heat. Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler. They made their big transaction to get Kyle Lowry. They did a hell of an offseason that I really love. Getting the PJ Tucker, Marcus Morris. They got real tough, real physical, and that's what you want. So I think it's gonna play a lot for them. I think it's gonna play a big part, and this is gonna determine, like, moving forward, like, what they can do for the long, because they need to put some people around Jimmy Butler. I have always thought that, and now that that's what they did, I feel like they're gonna capitalize on this opportunity. So for me, like I said, I got the Heat being number 1. The Wizards at the bottom, the Magic at 4, Hornets at 3, and Hawks at 2. With the Heat, winning that whole division.
Let me ask you this about the Wizards. Isn't it strange? I don't say strange, but do you think it's odd that Bradley Beal won't stick around in that dead duck situation?
I think it's very odd. I mean, I'm trying to figure out why the hell he still want to go back there. But for some reason, he continues to want to stay there. So for me, it puts me in okay, can you kind of explain, what's the purpose? So it's going to be kind of like, at this point, is he just doing this just to say he wants to leave? Like, what is it? What's the purpose behind it? But is it going to be a point where he do leave? We don't know. I think he had plenty of time to say, okay, Ray, I want to go, and he has not done it.
Yep. And then you go. Sorry to cut you. You go back to some.
No, go ahead.
You go to a certain point in the offseason where you hear reports like Draymond Green and the other three, Clay and Steph, kind of, you know, softly talked about to Bill about, coming over, but, nothing really advanced past that. I mean, if you happen in place, I mean, that's cool, that's awesome. But, legacy wise, what do you be like 10 years down the road? What do your NBA memory wants to be? A guy that's that just good at one place, or do you want to go somewhere to cement yourself, immortality wise, championship wise, contribute to that big play in the championship run or whatever? I don't know. Maybe some guys are built like that. It's hard for me to envision that. As much as have you seen these guys in the past decade, if something ain't going right or they want to team up with their partners, they go change teams in a heartbeat.
My thing is this something that he's doing very similar to, something very similar to Dame? Like, Dame was the same way. Like, remember, Dame was like, yeah, like, I ain't going nowhere. I want to stay here, and blah, blah, blah. Like, it just seemed like he just knew that he was going to be, like, like, when he was saying it, Dame talking about he want to stay in Portland and he don't see that teaming up and all that other stuff. But now we get, about a year or two in, and now he like, oh, hell no, like, he considering something else, or he considering this move, but now they're trying to convince him to actually stay. But are we getting the same energy from Bradley Beal? Like, so, I mean, it sounds good right now, but you see how that man face be looking on the side? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you see how disgusted and bothered the man be looking? Like, dude be looking like he just be like, man, I don't even want to, be here. Like, what's the point? So, for me, I just feel like this is like an opportunity where, yeah, you saying that you want to stay, but how long is this going to last? Like, when they start losing, continue to lose, and things are just going backwards, and you start seeing people that you were on a team with start getting championships or contending for championships. He just was on the team with Russ Westbrook. You know what I'm saying? And now, what happens is if he sees Russ in the NBA Finals after he was, clearly he's been in the NBA Finals before, but the fact is he was at Washington first, went somewhere else, or went to LA, and now he's contending for a championship. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what if he sees that? Is he going to have the same, oh, I want to stay here type of energy? I highly doubt that. So, it just, that kind of stuff. Like, that's why I said, I get the loyalty part. Prime example, I went to University of Tennessee. I love Tennessee. I met a lot of friends there. But I knew as a track athlete, the goals that I was trying to do was going to be very tough to do at Tennessee once they changed coaches. So I had to go somewhere where I trusted a little bit more. So what did I do? I transferred. I said, I can't be here. This is not good for me personally or the goals that I want. So, I mean, it sounds good right now that he wants to be there, but, I mean, we'll see. I mean, because, like, for the most part, it sounds perfect, and it sounds like a perfect thing for somebody to say, oh, yeah, I would love to stay here and, show my commitment to, to this team. But you keep being at the bottom of your division, or you keep having these play, and it's going to get –
Yeah, I definitely agree there, and it's I don't know. I think for the Wizards, it's gonna be like a wait and see thing. What happens over the course of the year, especially if they add Spencer Dinwiddie in the fold. In which I thought he maybe got bigger money elsewhere, but I was just like, I don't know, man. You had your chance to get out, And I always say this on the show. The Wizards, it's past due for them to kind of blow it up. In my eyes. But let me get to my predictions real quick. And see what y'all think. Number 5, I got the Magic. I think the only reason I got them here is because the young talent, new coaching staff. I look at them at the lineup of, this is like a tentative lineup of Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, Terrence Ross, Jonathan Isaac, and Wendell Carter Jr. as their starting lineup. I don't know. They could put Fulton in that starting point guard spot if they feel like it. If he's fully healthy and stuff like that. So that could be an option there. Suggs, like we talked about during the draft. With, I think, Cole Anthony not being that true person that kind of put you over the hump at the guard position, Suggs was a blessing in disguise when he fell to them at 5. So if he stays healthy, produces, and develops well with this team over the year, I think they'll go a long way for this team's future. And then, y'all's bench, with RJ Hampton, what happens with Mo Bamba? That's a big question mark. Do you trade him, try and get some value? Do you keep him in the fold? Just in case Wendell Carter gets hurt, anything like that? It's a lot of questions right there for the Orlando Magic. In my humble eyes. And then, is Jonathan Isaac going to be fully healthy? What's he going to look like? Can he, kind of take that next step forward and, use his length, range, and playing ability to kind of like take over in this league? Giannis, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but Giannis is kind of like the blueprint now of a guy that's 6'10" and above, can handle the ball pretty decently, going to the rack and stuff like that, being dominant and stuff like that, and kind of like, come stop me type of mentality.
Yeah, agree.
Because I love Lamar Odom. And I love his game and stuff like that. But sometimes you kind of wish, like, damn, at times you could do more than what you give. Same thing. I think Tim Thomas. You can get more than what you gave over your career. Who else I'm thinking about? Oh. I'll never forget, I don't know if you remember this player or not, Perry Jones, coming out of Baylor years ago. God, that's somebody right there that had all the talent in the world. Hand on the ball, shoot, stuff like that, 6'11", 7 foot. But some reason or another, never really put together in the league. So I'll say for Jonathan Isaac, if he could put that together, man, and be injury free, man, and shoot the ball very well. God, he can have this league in the chokehold if he wants to. And hopefully, I forgot the new coach's name. Hopefully, he lets him be like that this upcoming season. But I got the Magic at 5. Wizards, I got 4. They're in the same boat as I got the Rockets. And what's so funny about the Rockets, after we did our show, I don't know if you saw this on our D-Lock, but the Rockets plan to sit out John Wall at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So, I put the Wizards in that same boat because they got some guys. Depending on how this season goes, if the season goes south, that they got some assets to flip to kind of get started with their rebuild in Bill and Dinwiddie. The Dinwiddie signing, I think he looked around and found someplace that will take him in. I kind of surprised, the Clippers didn't make more of an effort trying to get him. You look at the Celtics and what they did to Dennis Schroeder in that situation. I'm surprised they didn't try to take a swing at him as well. And then, I just think Dinwiddie could have been to a lot of places, but I know a lot of teams were kind of cap strapped, but still, I think he should have had more interest in what he did. And the wide up in Washington, I just kind of felt like, he kind of shortchanged himself. This is my opinion. But you look at the lineup for the Wizards, if they are going out there to compete, you got Dinwiddie, Bill. My starting lineup is like this: Dinwiddie, Bill, KCP, Hachimura, and Bryant. Could you see Montrezl Harrell starting? Yeah, I can possibly see that. But I think he may come off the bench again. Kuzma, maybe, being away from LA, being away from all those distractions and stuff like that. Going to Washington, we'll see how that shakes out for him. So, maybe new scenery, maybe not so much pressure on him to do a lot. And maybe come in and, have a new mindset for himself. So, for the Wizards, I can easily, like you got them at 5th, I can easily send them there if the season goes south. But I got them at 4. Number 3, the Hornets. LaMelo Ball, he came out and showed out. And we've seen comments in the past about the Ball family when they talk about the youngest Ball brother that when the smoke clears, I think none of them would be surprised that, he'll be the best player out of all 3 brothers. We heard Lonzo has said this. LeVar has said this. It wouldn't be no surprise that, hey, LaMelo may be the best player out of all of us. And I know it's just year 1 D-Lock, but he's looking like it. 6'7", 6'8" point guard, a combo guard. Kind of reminds you of Magic Johnson in some ways. But I think with more scoring ability because, love Magic, but, he ain't really had no jumper like that. At that time, really didn't need to because you got, Kareem down low and whatnot. But, the way he sees the court, running a fast break, and credit to those other guys for the Hornets, having their hands ready to catch and all that stuff. Because when they know that when Ball has the ball, you gonna get your opportunities on the fast break or whatever. You always gotta stay ready too. So this kid is gonna be special. I don't think he's gonna take that leap to being an all-star this upcoming year. But I say at least by year 3, we talk about him being an all-star game. But looking at the Hornets starting lineup, I got Ball, Rozier, who got a big extension this summer. Got some big money, D-Lock. I'm like, ooh, but y'all paying him a good bit.
Yeah, he really did.
Which, we talked about in the past when, last year we talked about Gordon Hayward and the big money they gave him. I was like, damn, y'all finally getting out of salary cap hell after being like, lower in the Eastern Conference. And then you signed him to that big deal. Now you turn around and give Rozier a bigger deal, which is fine. He's produced well for y'all, but it's like, I don't know, maybe you could have has some flexibility there down the line. But anyways, that's that. Hayward, and this got tricky for the starting lineup, D-Lock, because they signed Kelly Oubre. I'm trying to figure out who's going to be the odd man out at that forward spot, either Bridges or Hayward. But I did this. I got Hayward and Bridges in the starting lineup. And I got Plumlee in center. And then Oubre be that first man off the bench. Along with Mr. P.J. Washington, who has not had one of the best off seasons in recent time.
Yes. You're correct with that.
And I probably would have put P.J. Washington in the starting lineup, but geez, man, I don't know if his head, if you throw him out there, I don't know if his head be in the right spot. If he's
like he gonna be there.
If you put him, if NBA started right now, the season right now, you put him in the starting lineup, I don't think he won't give you much. His mind's on other things right now. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, just a simple Google search or Twitter search, just type in PJ Washington and y'all just go from there. Y'all just have at it. Mr. Washington, D-Lock, is going to be like a textbook example in the rookie, the rookie class before they come in. What not to do.
Yeah, he can be the example of what you shall not do. That's clear. Or what to focus on anyway. Where your mind should be at.
Well, hell, not even that. Hell, they might use him in the NFL, MLB, NHL. Hey, y'all look at this. He's around y'all's age, and he doing this, and she doing all this stuff, offline, all that. Y'all don't want to be that. Don't do that. But I got the Hornets at 3. All things aside, I got the Hornets at 3. 2, I got the Miami Heat.
Ooh.
Only reason I put them here is this. Behind the starting 5, who I got is Lowry, Robinson, Butler, Tucker, and Adebayo. Who do you really got behind? That's my main question. Can you go? I mean, yeah, Tyler Hero, he can come in and give you some decent minutes, but he really didn't take that leap forward that a lot of folks kind of expected him after his rookie year. And where is his mindset is that the undrafted player in Duncan Robinson gets the big money deal before him. That's something to kind of look at towards the season. Like, is he going to come out guns and blazing, kind of upshow Robinson in spite of the team? He's going to worry about his own self? Or he's going to be a team player and kind of play within the confounds of the team? That's the storyline for the Heat to watch, for them to watch over the course of the year. Now, granted, they got the locker room to kind of put that stuff in check with, Haslam, Tucker, and Butler in the fold, and Lowry in the fold. But I know he's got to be salty in the side, behind the scenes by Robinson getting his big money deal before him. I thought PJ Tucker was a solid move. He's getting up there in age, so I was like, man, you're at least probably get one more last good season out of him. In my eyes. I'll wait. We'll see how that shakes up. They did sign Markieff Morris in the offseason, so that was a good move behind them. I don't know why they didn't do this, but why does this make a Udonis Haslem a coach?
For real, man, because he out there just collecting cheese.
Man, he's about bad as Juwan Howard, this collecting checks before he became a coach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least Juwan Howard turned that into, like, you know,
A head coaching job.
a head coaching job in Michigan, his alma mater, which he's doing a fabulous job up there. But it's like, damn, that spot can go to possibly find your next great finding and drafted free agency on your roster. Because Kendrick Dunn, he's not there anymore, in which I think they kind of botched that, because he could have been your starting point guard this year, but it kind of really botched how they played him and stuff like that. And then you turn to like the 35-year-old Lowry to kind of, ease the pain of your point guard position. My thing with the Heat, and two more things before I move on from them. Owen Depot, he resigned with them. He's kind of been twirling in the wind ever since his ACL injury. If they get some good stuff from him this season, it will carry them a long way. But that's one big question mark. Besides, for me, one big question mark besides the hero stuff is the Owen Depot. How is he going to look? What's his mindset going to be? He didn't get a lot of offers like that in free agency. So, what's his mindset going to be this year? And how's his knees going to hold up? And then secondly, can this crew bounce back after getting swept by the Bucks? You got to think about this, D-Lock. A couple years ago, they surprised the Bucks, made a run to the NBA Finals. And then you come back to this year's playoffs. You think, they got a good fighter's chance to maybe do it again. And they get swept. They took a piece from Milwaukee in PJ Tucker. But can they bounce back and try to find their mojo again? Or is this going to be another first round exit again? So I got the Heat at 2. Number 1 for me, the Hawks. I spoke in the past, D-Log, about the depth of this Hawks team, what they done in the past couple drafts. You look at that starting lineup of Young, Bogdanovic, DeAndre Hunter, who I really like, Collins, Capella. I think for the key for them, if DeAndre Hunter stays healthy for most of the season, will carry a long way for this team. DeAndre Hunter has two-way potential, defensively and offensively. I think he was coming around to that the past season, but the injury bug got him. If he's healthy and fully ready to go, it will carry a long way for this team. And then behind him, Cam Reddish. When he came back from his injury for the playoffs, played pretty well. And hopefully we could see more of that, towards the this year as well. Kevin Huerter, excellent three-point shooter, can shoot the lights out as well. So with Bogdanovic, in and out of starting lineup with injuries, he's a great person to have right behind him. And you keep that flow going in that backcourt with Young, Bogdanovic, and Huerter, the spacing, the 3-point shots, all that stuff. Down low with Capella and Collins, I think he's come to his own. He got that contract extension. I know he was kind of itching about it in the beginning of last year, but I think once things had kind of settled down, I think he's fully engaged with this team. Capella, when he's on the court, he's a big difference maker for this team. And, at times it showed, in the playoffs and whatnot. Now, did this team get lucky getting to the Eastern Conference Finals against, the Sixers? Maybe, maybe not. If Ben Simmons, kind of like, did more offensively, when we talked about this team make it to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, it's hard to say. But, what happened, and, they did make it there. They did win 2 games against the Bucks. So, and, for Nate McMillan to kind of take what Pierce did and kind of turn his team to an Eastern Conference, contending team, nothing short of amazing in my eyes. And he deserves, to kind of stay there for the next couple years and see what he can do with his team. Now, where they will be at in the standings in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's going to be hard to gauge. The Nets made some improvements. Boston made some improvements. Sixers, well, we'll talk about them here soon. But I could see this team possibly making the Eastern Conference Finals again. And I only say this because I think Brooklyn gets there. And somehow Brooklyn meets up with Milwaukee somewhere. I think we see that round 2 matchup again. How they get there, I don't know. But I could possibly see the Hawks back in the Eastern Conference Finals. Possibly. Only hiccup I can see, when they get to the second round, they either get matched up with the Bucks, Nets, or the Celtics. But it won't surprise me if they make it back that way. But if I had to give a prediction now, D-Lock, the Hawks, I can see them making. I say this, I'll give them a second round. Give them to the second round. I get the Heat to the playoffs, but I see them losing in the first round. And the Hornets, they'll be in the playing game, the playing tournament, to get into the playoffs. But this time around, they'll make it into the playoffs this time around. So what you think about that?
I think it's gonna be kind of tough. I kind of agree with you. I feel like the Hawks are a young team that can do a lot. It's just for me, I just have to. I feel like maybe one more player. If Bogdanovich could be more consistent, because he does have his nicks and bruises sometimes when he's hurt here or there. But if he can just be healthy and give consistent play, you might have you a nice combination, a duo in Trae Young and Bogdanovich. I think Kevin Huerter is a pretty solid player. I just think that Bogdanovich, we know, can create his own shot and get to the line. So I think that would be the difference maker. But for me, the Heat, Like I said, I definitely like what the Heat can possess with all the players they got. Even though, like you said, PJ Tucker is a little older, but it's like they wanted to get very physical. They wanted to get really, really physical and long. So they see what PJ Tucker did against Kevin Durant. They played against each other. So when the Bucks and the Nets had met up. So for me, I like that move a lot. Clearly we know what the Nets would be next year if they can stay healthy. If Kyrie can stick to basically locking in on basketball, then that team might be one of the clear hard teams to beat. Just for the NBA title, if you ask me. But the Hawks, I just feel like if I had a little bit more consistent play from Bogdanovich, it's kind of like when Steph and Clay were clicking, or when they're clicking. You know what you're going to get from Clay. He catches fire, now you got to worry about Steph. Clay can get you 30 quick. We've seen it happen. So you can get something very similar from between those two players, between Bogdanovich, then now I think you're looking at a pretty solid duo that can go far. And then they're the East too, so this is their opportunity to make big moves. So right now, the Nets obviously is the top dog for the longest, but the Hawks could be one. It's just the whole, consistency with their players, especially those two guys. Trae Young gonna be Trae Young. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Trae Young is coming to one of the better players in the league.
Yeah, I agree with you. Trae Young, one of the better guards in the league. You see him come more. I mean, I would say more come out of his shell during that New York series and playing up to that crowd at Madison Square Garden. And then here just recently, about a couple of weeks ago, show up on WWE television when they went back to Madison Square Garden. He came out. He got chorus of boos in that front of MSG crowd. So he's living it right now. He loves it. And he got the skill set to back it up. So if he gets his play up, which I think we both kind of predict that, he's going to keep this style play up and whatnot. And like I mentioned about the other guys, if they stay healthy, I think they can make some real noise. They got the depth and stuff like that. And with Nate Millen's, defensive style, I think they can do some things. If you're going to get some Giannis, you got the bodies to kind of throw at Giannis. Like a Gallinari, Reddish, Hunter, Collins. That's about 4 guys right there I could throw at you defensively. If you go against the Nets, then going against James Harden or maybe Kevin Durant, those mine is Gallinari. Those other 3 guys, I can throw them at you as well. Who else I'm thinking about? Boston, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Those 3 guys right there. So they got the depth. Can these boys stay healthy? Along with Bogdanovich, he's got to stay healthy.
Yeah. I mean, best ability is availability. That's what you got to have for them. But now they're going to have a target on their back, too. That's my biggest thing is can they, we've seen Trae Young and their squad make a huge leap. So can they keep that energy, especially now that the targets are on their back?
And Trae Young may relish that. I guess when training camp media comes about and stuff like that, if that's a question I would ask, With y'all making with a surprise run at the Eastern Conference Finals, do y'all think y'all have a target on y'all back? And Trey might gave the answer like, "Hey, I relish it. Come at me." And that's what we like to see at these young guys. We need, and we talk about in the past. We need new young faces in the league, and Trey Young is slowly being one of those guys, along with Luka, Giannis, Jason Tatum. We need those new young guys to kind of show up in this league. I think Trey Young, I think he's going to be one of those guys that we're going to talk about a household name here after this season.
Yeah, I think right now it's just how he's moving and how he's going, showing that he's one of the better players in the league. And it's even proof more so that Dallas and Atlanta trade wasn't as bad for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
That biggest question is, who would you rather have between Luka and Trey Young? But, it's a push for both, if you ask me. I just feel like maybe Trey Young kind of fits where he is, and Luka fits exactly where he is. So, but the Hawks could be special for a long time if they can stay healthy. About Donovan, like I said, a little bit more consistency. You already got Trey Young shooting out the gym. So, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how that play out. And, we've seen teams with high expectations don't do anything because of the target in their back. So, with the target in their back, we'll see how it shakes out. But I definitely like it, though. I'm just hoping my Orlando Magic will make some type of step and be patient with what we're trying to build.
Yeah, before we head out, back to your Magic, I think that's a key word. And then I think they got to look at what the Hawks have done the past couple of years, the patience. I think you be patient, let whoever you want to break out, and then kind of just build around them. So if Suggs happen to take that leap this year, have a great rookie campaign, then you gotta build around him. If Isaac, falters or whatever, Fultz, still having his issues and whatnot, injury wise, but if Suggs comes out the pack as that guy, then you gotta run him as the guy. Because we've seen Isaac in the league for a few years, nothing really materialized. We've seen Fultz. Nothing really has started. And then, RJ Hampton, he seemed like a real gem, but is he going to get their appropriate playing time to kind of showcase that? So, out of those young guards of Suggs, Fultz, RJ Hampton, Cole Anthony, Gary Harris, he's mid-20s, but still. I think if somebody can break out the pack there, then you're cooking. But they got to look to see what their own team and their own division did with the Hawks. And if they let things kind of marinate, don't stunt, these young kids' growth. It go a long way for their team. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, my thing is, like I said, it's not stunting the growth and just let them, build that foundation and just let it happen. We talked about it before, like Alabama, like their football team. When Nick Saban got there the first year that he got there, he wasn't a national championship winner the first year. It took a little bit of time to build that, to get that chemistry, to get what he wanted, to get his guys in how he wanted to. So I feel like now it's the same thing with, especially like I said, my Magic. Like you got a chance at this point to use a Jalen Suggs. If you got Obama there, see what you can hold with that and build. But it's gonna take time. You can't, Now that doesn't mean like you continue to pay a lot of people because we have the history of just giving money to people. You know what I'm saying? Like especially injured people, but the injured athletes. But I feel like this is an opportunity where we have a new coach in town. Give him a chance. Give him some years to actually put something together. The class that he got, at least give him a chance to go through 2 or 3 of his classes and see what he's trying to develop. If we could do that, I think we'd be good. I don't want to, but I wouldn't be over. I wouldn't overdo it and say, "Oh, well, yeah, we're gonna go to like the NBA Finals this year." Like I ain't gonna do that.
And y'all heard the man, especially if you're a Orlando Magic management, you have to listen to the show. Let the team develop. They're tired of reboots down there. Let them develop. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us. We'll be back here next week previewing our next division, which we would discuss off air who that would be. But D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
Guys, definitely
Our Fast Break account. On our Fast Break account, you can find the show on Twitter at FastBreak@IESR. That's FastBreak@IESR. We'll be tweeting all basketball news, updates, all that stuff on there. So please do follow us on there. Also, I'll do another podcast on the side. Even I had done one in a month called The Crooks Process. You can find that show on Facebook and Instagram. The Crooks Process. Please give a like and follow. And then any updates I'll be posting on there. But we'll be back here, ladies and gentlemen. Also, do check out IESportsRadio.com for all shows on the network here, including our preview series. So you can go back and catch the playback, or come past summer, see how our predictions hold up. We love stuff like that. So check out IESportsRadio.com. Please follow IE Sports Radio on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You know, I gotta talk to Larry B about getting on TikTok. I think that's be the next big move. But anyways, thanks for tuning in tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll talk to y'all next week. We're out.
Deuces.